Today, Alex is doing a lower body and core workout that I've designed for him. We'll be going through each exercise, looking at his technique and form, and seeing if there's anything that we can do slightly differently, and giving you guys some tips along the way.
And you want to feel a great stretch in your hip flexors and in your buoys.
You can use a higher surface like a bench or a chair to make this slightly easier if you're just starting out, or you can go as low as the floor. The aim for this one is to keep that back leg nice and straight to stretch your hip flexors. Your heel can come off the ground on that one.
Swap sides.
But you want to make sure that the front foot stays nice and flat.
I'm trying to come over my toes.
We're aiming to bring our knee as far over the toes as possible whilst keeping the back leg straight, body upright as well, so we're not arching the back. Moving on to squat kicks. These ones not only look cool and feel fun,
uses my joints in a fuller range.
They stretch out your hamstrings and also warm you up really nicely. The next exercise is Romanian deadlift. Ideally, you want an elevated surface, so whatever weight you're holding or bag can go past your feet.
Straight leg, back straight, go as low as possible.
As you can see, Alex has a really nice straight back here, which is perfect. We really want this to focus on the hamstrings, so in an ideal world, we just have him with his feet a tiny bit closer together.
I can feel a huge stretch in my hamstrings, like you can crack an egg on it.
Aim to go really slow and controlled and focus on using your hamstrings as you lift back up rather than pulling on the weight with your upper body or with your lower back. For this one, I would use a fairly light weight depending on your level and just do higher repetitions. So we're aiming for anything over 12 reps is good and about 2 to 3 sets. Deficit leg raise is a harder variation of the standard leg raise.
So if I go lower than 180,
as if they needed to be more difficult,
working on my lower abs.
But there's always options to progress or regress an exercise. To make them easier, you can just do them on the floor. You can bend your knees as well. Just make sure that when your back is on the floor or on the bench, that it's nice and flat. Think about pulling your belly button down towards your spine. Don't allow your back to arch.
When I train backflip, for example, the next day I feel my core insanely sore, and because it's a really powerful knee raise that basically you have to do with a backflip. As you jump up, as you're up in the air, from here you have to do a really powerful knee raise which engages your core massively.
Next up we have side lunges. I absolutely love these.
Working on your quads, glutes, my adductors.
Not only do they work your inner thighs and your glutes, but they're also amazing for your hip mobility. It's also a great way to stretch your inner thighs and strengthen them at the same time, especially for people who don't like to do much stretching. Alex. When doing this, you want to make sure you have a nice straight back and you're not rounding at all, and also have your knee and foot in line.
I'm gonna use these bars to do some upside down sit-ups, which I absolutely love. Something badass about the exercise.
A super badass exercise. Just make sure you put a nice squishy bit of foam around the bar just to cushion your soft knees before you do this badass exercise.
So now as I come in here, it's a little bit softer for my knees, and I can work on my sit-ups without worrying too much about my back of the knees.
You might have noticed that Alex also tucks his feet on the next bar. That's just to make sure he doesn't fall right over. So make sure you have another bar to put your feet under.
Cool. I'm gonna do 2 more sets of the lunge and the sit-ups, and then we're gonna move on. The next exercise she gave me is side leg raises. Well, it might not look like a really hard exercise, but it is, especially when you're keeping your toes down instead of pointing them up. It really works on the glute mid, glute min. Remember guys, those are the muscles that actually, if they're weak and tight, can cause a lot of lower back pain because they're just not getting worked and they're all connected to your lower back. I actually learned that from Jeff Cavalier. And it's a brilliant thing to know and to work on.
Another thing to remember with this exercise is we don't just want to be swinging our leg up and down. We want to make sure we control it, especially on the lowering phase.
This is already burning and I only did like, what's that, 15 reps? I'm not really counting. I just want to feel the burn.
Also, if you can stop about 3-4 inches before your other foot, then that's perfect as you keep more tension on your glutes.
I'm going to do pistol squats on the bench because I don't have to worry too much about my mobility. Because if I do it on the floor, I can do it, but I feel like I'm falling backwards because you can see my heel is touching the floor. I just don't have a good mobility to keep it up. But if I do it on the bench, I can still work on a single leg without focusing so much about keeping my feet off the ground. So if I did this on the floor, the left leg would be touching the ground, so I wouldn't be able to do as many reps.
This is a great variation to work towards a full pistol squat, like Alex said, especially if your mobility is a little bit limited. Aim to keep a nice straight back, especially as you go to the bottom of the squat.
Okay, cool. So toes to bar, I try to keep it strict. I can't do it super strict. My mate showed me a variation when you're keeping your legs front of you and only come back to that level. God, that's super hard. Or you can do a slightly easier one when you're allowed to bring your legs back, so you can do a little bit of swing, not keeping, but a little bit of swing. So that looks something like this.
Remember, there is always a regression for each exercise. If the strict toes to bar is too challenging for you, you can use the momentum, you can keep a bend in your knee. Some of you might actually need a bend in your knee, especially if your hamstring flexibility is a little bit limited.
I'm going to finish it off with some calf raises, single legs, not too many. I remember this one time, this guy was commenting on my calves being small. I took it to the heart, went home, I did 100 calf raises and then I couldn't walk for a week. I had to call in sick.
That's a true story. I shouldn't laugh, but it was very funny. Literally 100 calf raises and he was gone.
One, I was just stupid doing that many. When I know my calf is not used to the amount of repetitions. And it's also stupid because why do I listen to what other people say? I don't have the strongest calves. I don't have to have the strongest calf, and it doesn't have to look the strongest either. I'm quite happy with where I am with my fitness journey. I can do a lot of things that people wish to master, and I also lack in a lot of other areas where I wish I can do, but you can't be perfect and you can't be good at everything. Especially that having bigger calf is really not going to add any value to my life. Maybe that I can wear shorts without being self-conscious. But that's just a mental thing. Okay, just do a couple of sets, avoiding failure, and then I'm going to finish with some floor core exercises, and then I'm going to call it there.
With almost all core exercises where you're lying on your back, you want to make sure that your back is pressed into the floor. You don't want to be arching. That pulls on your hip flexors and on your lower back, and it's not great for you. It also means you're not engaging your core as much. So whilst it might be harder, it's more beneficial and less dangerous for you.
Okay, that's it for today. That was a good workout. See you in the next video.